So I think I got this joint figured out. Let me see. I don't know what that message just said. Um, what's up, y'all? Hey, this is my first time really going live. At least um on YouTube. I've never been live on YouTube before, aside from like doing the marathon joints, and I hope that y'all like them. I want to figure out different ways to be able to engage with y'all and have y'all, have more access to me if that's something that y'all interested in. I don't really do face reveal stuff anymore. I'm like real low key and behind the scenes with just trying to push the animation out. But my therapist and my sister Ed Tiff, who y'all love, said I'm hiding behind my animation, so I need to start really, being less introverted. Um, which is really weird for me because I've never been introverted, but I was never introverted in my entire life. But now that I'm kind of doing this, I'm a lot more introverted now. But I figured I would do a live Q&A with y'all if that's something that y'all would like. I have some questions from y'all. This joint is not really going to be about the joint I dropped tonight. I was thinking more or less, let's talk about the hotel episode, which is my absolute favorite story to tell. Like, it's my favorite. Again, a lot of people think it's like the Wendy episode, and that's cool and all because I get to be petty. But my favorite episode to talk about is the the hotel episode. And if you're watching this and you've never seen this episode before, me and my homies, we were like having the best night ever. We were supposed to be going to this hotel party, which was supposed to be like a pajama party or something like that. And when we didn't get the details, like Bruce didn't get the details, we just knew it was a hotel party somewhere in the city, and we were waiting around. And in that, we didn't get the details. So we're like, all right, listen, we're gonna go to the Stinger. The Stinger was like our go-to number one spot to hang out at every weekend in Philly if we didn't have anything else to do. We go to the Stinger, and it's like, when I say it was like 20-1 in that joint, it was so many joints, and we having it our way. You try to leave the dance floor, another girl grab you. You leave it again, somebody else grab you. It was amazing. And then Bruce finally get the call, and hey, look, it's not only a pajama party at the hotel, it's a lingerie party. So we like, oh, we should probably go to that instead. So like, forget a bird in the hand. We're gonna go to this hotel instead. So we go to the hotel. We get there, and Bruce don't have the information, so we split up and we just in the doors, and we finally figure out where the spot is, and we get there, and it's like not women our age. It's like women double our age and sometimes triple our age. It was like grown, like women are like our grandmother's age in there a lot of times. What up, A. McLeod? What's good? He said, what's good, Viz? I love all your stories. Takes me all the way. The wild times of the 2000s were great because there's no evidence. That's the best part about being in the 2000s. There's no evidence. I feel bad for these kids, like for these young adults today, because all the proof is going to be there when their kids are going to be able to see all the ratchets that they did. But either way, we get trapped in this hotel room. Like, they won't let us out. And we have to, like, again, we're getting felt up. And again, if you watch the story, I downplay it. I promise you, it was way worse. It was way worse in real life. Like, the one part I left out, and you can kind of see it because in the latest episode, I switched shirts. But what happened in real life was this woman ripped she went up my shirt and like took it over my head, and like she was like stripping me in the middle of this hotel room. I had one woman behind me, one woman in front of me. The story about Nell being back against the wall, that shit was true. Nell put his back against the wall so that nobody could like sneak up behind him, like the woman that snuck up behind me. Like Rob and Wayne was running around the room trying to escape these older women, these war cats. So that all of that is true. And Ron, which is not his real name, Ron staying, that part was also true. It was like, it had to be like at least 12, 15, maybe more of those women in there. We dipped out, Ron stayed, and we promised to never tell the story. But I 100% told it. I didn't even wait 24 hours to tell the story. I went home and told that shit on AOL that night. Like, it was like 3:00 in the morning, maybe later. And I was on AOL saying like, yo, y'all ain't gonna believe this shit that happened tonight. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that. And again, you can feel free to ask any question about anything. It doesn't have to be about this. If you have any questions about the characters, you have any questions about the series, like, I want to talk about it. I want to be more You know, I want to make sure that I'm more accessible to people who want to, build a community, and that's what I want more than anything. I want a community of this. So here comes Nugget. I have a dog named Nugget, by the way. If you don't follow me on Instagram, here comes Nugget. So if you hear him bark or you hear him snarling, I got a pit bull who thinks it's a Pomeranian. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit tonight. I have questions that y'all asked. I'm trying to pull them joins up. So give me a sec. But again, if you have questions, if you just want to yap, does your bro really have 20 kids? He has more than 20 kids. He has more than 20 kids. Again, I'm not lying about that. Me and his sister on his mom's side, he has his sister Tatiana. Shout out to Tatiana, because for all intents and purposes, my sister too. I love her like a sister, and she loves me like a brother. We sat down at. How can I pull this up? Can I add this to the? Again, it's the first time I've ever ever gone live, so forgive me. I know there got to be a way you can pull up questions, but I don't know how to do it just yet. So, but I will figure it out. Is that it? No, that's just goes to the top of the chat. But either I know there's a way that you can put the joins on the screen, but I'll figure that out. Me and his sister sat down at his oldest daughter prom send off. Nugget, get out of here, crazy. Okay, fine, I'll pet you, Nugget. I got you, buddy. And we ran down the numbers and the names of the ones that we knew about, and we got to like 22 or 24, and those are the only ones we know about. So there are more, we just don't know about them. He lived in Atlanta for like 3 years, and I always like make a joke like, you don't go to Atlanta and then start using condoms. You don't go to Atlanta and then stop having sex. So he probably got some kids in Atlanta. He lived in Indiana for like a year, so he might have some kids there. Every once in a while, because our last name is so unique, people will hit me up on like Facebook Messenger and be like, "Hey, do you have a brother named Ryan?" And I'm like, "Yeah, how you got a kid by him?" Like that's happened 5-6 times. Somebody, I guess, looking for him and found my name instead. So yeah, my brother 100% has over 20 children. And it's been like that for like the longest. Like spread out, it's a couple in Boston, it's a couple in Baltimore, mostly in Philly, and I'm sure there's some in Atlanta. I'm positive that he has kids in Atlanta. There's no way you move to Atlanta in the 2000s and don't have some kids. There's no way. You don't start using condoms in Atlanta. But the crazy part about the Atlanta thing is, and this ain't really my story to tell, but I don't really give a shit. He 100% dipped so he has 2 kids by one woman. I call her my sister. Shout out to her. I ain't gonna say her name here because she probably don't want to be shouted out like that, but that's my sis. He literally said, "I'm gonna go to the store," went to the store and got on a Greyhound. So he was like messaging a John on, I don't know, AOL. Like it couldn't have been maybe Facebook or MySpace or whatever it was at the time. And he had set up going to meet this John in Atlanta. So he got on. He said, "I'm going to the supermarket." He goes to the he leaves out to go to the market. She thinks he's going to the market, and he hops on a Greyhound and never comes back. Ryan is a mess. And like Tiff is like, me and Ryan haven't talked. We only really talk at like his kids' events. So if he has like a prom send off or some kind of birthday party, we talk then. But we're not like tight. But when we do see each other, like it's like, we chilling because we have like history. But he just so wild that I just can't, man. Like I don't co-sign a lot of the things that he does. So long story long, yes, over 20 kids. That part is not cap at all. It's always Atlanta. It's always Atlanta. That's why I always say it's always Atlanta. Details about Maya and Wendy. So I don't think I left too many details out of that story. Like what you see is what you get with that story. What happened. Like she 100% called me to help. Like Wendy 100% called me to help. Maya 100% was talking. I never say a bad thing about Maya because she was really kind to me. She probably would have curved me. I had no money. I couldn't provide no lifestyle for her. I just had height and audacity, which if I was to have like a memoir, that would probably be the name of my memoir, Height and Audacity, because I had plenty of height and audacity, but she was really kind to me. Nugget, relax, dude. My dog he wants to be a star, but She 100% dragged her away and was like, "Why are you talking to the help?" Like dragged her back up the ramp. With Maya like turning around, like, "I see you at the after party," but the after party was like 25 and over that year for whatever reason. And I wasn't old enough, so that 100%. I'm not doing my light skin squint. That's so funny, LRS. That's so fucking funny. I'm not doing it. You got to say that for the episodes. But I still, my light skin squint is still crazy. I would do it, but as you can see, I'm having like crazy allergy problems right now. So if you see me like scratching my nose or you see me rubbing my eyes, I'm like, my allergies is killing me right now. So maybe I ain't picked the best day to go live for the first time. Um, any kids in DC? I don't know if he has kids in DC. The DC was my thing. I don't know if he was really a DC like DMV kind of dude. I loved the DMV. Like that was my thing. PG County women used to make me go crazy, and I didn't really know about it until I went to college. My college roommate and a bunch of my friends were from the DMV. Shout out to Media Cook and Glenn. I mean, Media Cook, Nikki, Sean, like all the DMV crew. Like we were like I would go home with them, and they would take me like to go-go's and stuff. Oh my god, like DC women used to just drive me crazy. PG County Moco girls used to drive me crazy. So I don't know if Ryan has any kids in DC. He may, but I know he got a kid in Baltimore. So I guess DC is only an hour away. You could go right down to Baltimore Washington Parkway. It makes sense that he would have kids there, but I don't know of any. How's your sister doing? She seems like the voice of reason for you and your brother. Tiff is doing well. Like I talked to Tiff earlier today, like a lot today. Like 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes before I went live. She doesn't live in the States anymore. She lives she lives abroad and she loves it. But she 100% has always been the voice of reason. And I think you kind of have to be growing up in the bachelor pad. Like, my dad was like a consummate bachelor. Me and Ryan were like, these young, crazy F boys. So when you're the baby and you're the only girl, you kind of have to be the voice of reason. So she kind of kept us all in check. Even as the youngest, like she was the queen bee. And any women who come around know, like, you gotta bow down to the queen. Like, she don't play about us. Like, she don't play with us, but she don't also play about us. So like she's amazing. She hates being part of the series. I think she accepts it now, but she doesn't really like attention. She's kind of like the behind the scenes person. She doesn't like attention at all, but she's doing really well. And I would say that I would go tell her that I would hit her up and be like, yo, they asked about you, but she probably like, oh my God, why are you talking about me in your live? So we'll just keep that between us. Definitely need to know if that crazy ex be stalking your series, Lightning Bug Chick. I don't know. Like when I say thank you, by the way. Thank you everybody for the questions. Much love back to you, King J. I don't know if the Lightning Bug Chick, I forget what fake name I gave her too. I think it was KJ, but I don't know if she's seen any of the episodes. But that was a true story. Even after like the whole idea, like she was stalking me after we broke up. We broke up in May. She was still living with me throughout the summer. That whole idea was she was supposed to be making enough money to like get an apartment. Even the way she moved in, like it was never a thing where we were supposed to be living together. She had an issue with her apartment, or so I thought. She had an issue. She said like the maintenance guy kept like coming in unwarranted, and KJ was bad. She was bad. She was so bad. So it was like, it makes sense that this little, like maybe it's this little pervy maintenance dude is coming in. Not that you got to be bad for that to happen, but she was bad. So the whole idea was instead of like going to stay with her mom, who lives like 45 minutes to an hour outside of Philly, way out the way, you come stay with me for a little, till you find your own apartment. Man, having like in-house sex and hot dinner every night, I'm like, oh, she ain't going nowhere. So yeah, that didn't happen. She didn't go anywhere. And after it was over, she did move down the street from me. She lived like literally the next 100 block down on Cranston. She moved down into the next 100 block and would be outside my crib every night. But once she got married to some bull who won the lottery. He won like millions of dollars in the lottery. She got married to him, and she still was stalking me for a little while after she got married to the bull. But then she converted to Islam, and she would have on like a khimar hijab, and then she started wearing like the veil too. So the running joke that I would always say is, I don't know, she could still be stalking me. I just don't know it's her. But I don't know if we have mutual friends, but we never mention each other. At least they don't mention her to me. So I don't know if she's ever seen the series. But it would be silly for her to like come out and be like, this ain't the truth. Which, because number one, it is the truth, and people will co-sign it. But then people would know, like, yo, this is you. So it doesn't make any sense for her to do that. So I don't. Long story long, I have no idea if she's ever seen it. Have you ever seen the Britney Spears Woman lately? I don't live in that neighborhood anymore. So we lived in the same neighborhood for a while. Like I lived on Cedar between 47th and 48th, and I think she lived off like 50th maybe or 49th. But on the other side of Baltimore Avenue, like if you know University City, West Philly, kind of / South, like Southwest Philly area, you know that area. So I used to see her on the 34 trolley a lot. So since I used to see her, and it's a co-op like grocery store, Mariposa. I see her in there all the time. But now that I don't live around there, and I don't really leave the house that much, to be honest with you, I haven't seen Jane is what I named her in the story, but that's not her real name. But I am Facebook friends with her still. Like I keep an eye on her to make sure that, and she's still manic. But she's like a music genius. Like she's a musical genius, but she still has her manic episodes. And then if you went to her Facebook page, you'd be like, oh snap, I can see what you mean. But again, she never did anything to me. She just was a little manic. And I hope that I told that story where I wasn't trying to clown her mental health issues, but show how her mental health issues were affecting me. I hope I did a good job with that. I wonder if I ever passed you down Eastover. I'm big as hell, so you would recognize me if you did. Like I'm a humongous human being, so there's that. I'm like 6'7", 300 pounds. So if you ever saw me, you would probably recognize me. Do the kids know each other and mess around and be dead? So good question, D. Dalton. Talking about my brother's kids. So them is 41 of y'all in here. That's crazy. I was hoping like 1 or 2 of y'all showed up. Shout out to y'all for showing up. Like hit that like button if you feel like it. And if not, don't worry about it. We just in here chilling regular. But so my brother's first baby mom, who is my sister. Shout out to her. I love her to death. Like I'm closer to her than I am to my brother. She does a good job of keeping all of the siblings close, and she doesn't have to do that. So I'm proud of her that she does, but that's one of the reasons that she does do it. Number one, so that all the siblings know each other. But number two, Philly ain't but so big. Philly ain't but the population of Brooklyn, like one of the boroughs. Like for Philly to be the second biggest city on the East Coast, it's only the size of Brooklyn, population-wise. So you could very well be dating your sibling and not know it. And then my brother has 3 kids in the same year. Like the same age, 3 different. He got 3 women pregnant in the same year. So it is really good on that. That she keeps them together, the ones that she does know. And again, he has ones out there that we don't know. It's crazy, Project Triplets. That's funny. Thank you, TS. Is it TSI? You were able to tell that story in a way that was both respectful to her and still funny. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that I told the story, but not like make fun of mental health in general, or like make her seem like she was messed up. Hold on. I think I missed some. Oh, I was never a fan of Wendy and couldn't stand hearing her on Power 99 and Hot 97. Hearing your Maya story just solidified my hatred. The funny thing is, I was a huge Wendy fan. I love the what was the name of that show? It wasn't The Breakfast Club. Is the joint that's out now? It was The Dream Team. Her, Kobe Kobe, and D. Lee. And the funny thing is, I say this all the time. She stole that how you doing? She stole that from the boy D. Lee, who she was on the show with. And when I put that out there the first time, D. Lee hit me up and thanked me for saying that. He had this character. I think her name was Shantae, and he was like, "How you doing?" That she stole that from him. Don't clip that I just did that. Please don't clip that. She stole that from him and trademarked it. So yeah, I actually was a fan of her, but then when she stole that, I really didn't like her. Then when she did what she did, I really didn't like her. But I didn't. But that was first, and then she stole the shit from D-Lee. Wow, I caught you live. Shout out to Queen Sheba. Somebody called me. Oh, I missed a compliment. Hold on. Light skin teddy bear. Shout out to you, Princess Coco. I'll take that. I 100% take that. hey, I made it, you did. It's my first time. This is the first time I've ever been live on YouTube. So I'm just trying to, I'm figuring this out. And again, we could talk about again going forward. If this is something that y'all like, we can do this more often. We can do reactions to stuff that's happening in the world if y'all want. Like, I'm down for whatever. Like, the truth is, and I'm gonna be honest with y'all, and I haven't really talked about this. I started Trashterpiece Theater during depression. Like, I was going through a lot. And I started telling the stories on Instagram in the midst of a depression, and that really helped me get out of it. Whenever I'm like going through something, I lean into art, and it used to be poetry, but now it's this, as well as poetry, but more so this. So I kind of like fell back from really being in public, like stopped touring, stopped really showing my face and stuff like that. I just was kind of like, animation was everything to me, and telling my stories was everything to me. So if it's some things that y'all want to do, then boom, I'm down with it. Mike DDH, I missed the new episode. I check it out after this live. Yeah, the new episode is about, if you missed it, it's about fresh out of the relationship with Alicia. And if you know the Alicia story, she has 3 different stories. She might have 4 at this point, to be honest with you. I was like heartbroken, and I started messing with this like rebound John, and she was not the cutest of her friend group. I'm trying to be respectful by saying it, but she was like the not cutest of her friends. And when I saw that she was the not cutest of her friends, my little arrogant ass was like, damn, your friends is actually more my type aesthetically. So I don't want to get the story away, but she was the not cutest. And then there's a Ryan B story. How y'all liking the Ryan B stories? Like, I'm having a lot of fun writing the Ryan B stories, but there's a Ryan B story that kind of goes along with it as well. So I don't want to get that away. Where am I at? Project Triplets. Yep, you caught my live. Can't believe I almost missed this. What happened to the podcast? Are you talking about the podcast? Which one are you talking about? The joint I was doing with Rhythm or Trash Can Time Machine? Because I'm still doing that. It's a lot of work. But that's Trash Can Time. Oh yeah, Trash Can Time Machine. Yeah, I imagine. My bad. I will get back to you. I promise. There's a form. Did you not fill out the form? Because we are casting for the 2nd season of Trash Can Time Machine. So yes, if you filled out the form, I got it. And when we start recording for that 100%, I'll 100%, you'll get a response for that. What's up, brother? This is crazy. I was just binge watching Trashterpiece last night. Your content is dope. Thank you, Pretty Mimi. I appreciate you. This is something new that I'm doing, this live. So I'm thinking of, if this is something that y'all like, you could do like a poll. Let me do a poll. Let's do this. Weekly Q&A, post episode Q&A. Yes, yay or nay? Let's do that. Yes or no? So yeah, there's something new I'm trying. I'm also on a new podcast called The Old Heads, and that was we shot our first episode. Well, they've already done episodes before, but I shot my episodes. My first episode with them the other night, like yesterday. I think it'll be out in like 2 weeks or next week. But I shot an episode with this new podcast called the Old Heads that I thought was really, really fun. So I'm gonna be doing that going forward too. So you'll be able to see me as a part of a different podcast. What I'm trying to get all of it. The radio show. Yeah. Then you don't even remember what I forgot she was on Carter and Sanborn. But shout out to Carter and Sanborn. They were Dwight, you go back. Carter and Sanborn was huge in Philly. It was a Philly radio show. Shout out to the first baby mom. Never really like this. Yeah, I don't really like that term either, but first child's mother. But either way, that's my sister. So I don't look at her like a baby mom. That's my sis. Again, I'm closer to his first 2 kids' mom than I am with him. So yeah. When you bring it back 00647, that's my baby. So if you haven't watched 00647, I did this side project to kind of prove to me and to Hollywood at the time, and I got some Hollywood stories for y'all that I could create outside of just my own stories. And I loved it, but it just was such bad timing, and I wasn't really active on YouTube, so the algorithm didn't pick it up. So my idea with 00647 is to reboot it, to revoice it, and to make it bigger and better than it was, and not I have ideas for it, and I want to come up with like a whole writer's room of dope people to come up with ideas and to help me write it next time. So yes, yeah, you can read the MySpace spellings. How did your hard 75? So I did this thing called 75 hard. It was so 75 hard is at least a gallon of water a day, 2 workouts a day that for at least 45 minutes. You got to read 10 pages of a nonfiction book, preferably like self-help or DIY. But I made mine 10 pages or at least 500 words of writing because that's more in tune with what my goals are. So I did that, and you got to stick to a diet. And I did it twice. I did it twice this year, so it was amazing. It's transformative, and I'm still doing the 2 workouts. So while 75 hard is over, it's still a big part of me. So thank you for asking about that, Princess Coco. Those Shantae skits were funny. I remember I remember you started telling them stories in 2020. I saw it on Instagram. Yeah, for those who don't know, it started on Instagram story. Like it wasn't even animated at first. I was literally typing out on my phone like the story slide by slide by slide by slide. So there was that. So yeah, that was, and you can still find that if you don't find it, if you still want to see, you can read the same stories on Instagram slide by slide. It's still in my highlights. Lord, you give me your depression secrets, man. Listen, if I wish I had the panacea for depression, because I still battle it sometimes, and maybe I'll go into that deeper later. But for me, art and working out has been the big thing. Being outside in nature is a big thing too. Good to see you live in the flesh, bro. New viewer to Trashterpiece. I love to fully touch on these joints. Keep them coming and do more lives. Bet, Gerald, I appreciate that. Welcome to the Trash Tribe, bro. Welcome to the Trash Tribe. That's what I've effectively been naming y'all. Is that y'all like that? The Trash Tribe? Is that corny? Is that stupid? If it's corny, I cut it out. I'll leave it alone. But yeah, the way you animate the not cute ones is hilarious. The Deja character. So the truth. So if you haven't watched the episode, like I'm really not giving much away here, but when I met her friends, because again, I try not to make it too obvious who I'm talking about, because again, Philly ain't but so big, and North Philly really ain't but so big. So I never use the real names, and I try to switch up the appearance a little bit to not make them look too much like themselves. And sometimes I'll switch up, place. So what happened in real life? What happened? It wasn't her house. It was at this place called Lou and Choose. If you're from North Philly, if you're from Philly in general, you might know Lou and Choose. But I met her friends at Lou and Choose, and I was like, damn, how is all your friends finer than you? And my little arrogant ass was so upset about that. Just so upset. Love the Ryan B stories. Hell yeah. How was Alicia's friend that was buying your friend's socks doing? So the episode about. So Alicia, shout out to Alicia again. We're really cool in life. And I did an interview with her, which I gotta get up. I gotta get that Alicia interview up. I got so much stuff that I haven't edited because Trashterpiece takes so long. Like, just to give hi Nugget. My dog is so needy. Hi friend. I love you too, boo boo. Just to let y'all know, it takes about a day, sometimes 2, to write an episode. And each episode for 11 minutes should be around 2,000 words. So a 2,000 word script normally takes a day, sometimes more, depending on how intricate it is, like maybe another day to edit it. Like, because again, I end up writing way more than I need. So I try to get every episode to around like 2,000 words, 2,100 words, but I'll be writing like 3,200 words. So then I got to edit that shit down, which takes forever. And then voicing it is like a half a day, maybe sometimes, and I use Rec Philly. I have a home studio, but I've been using Rec Philly, which is like an artist like a co-op basically. That's really dope. And then animating like an 11-minute episode probably will take me anywhere between 20 and 28 hours, maybe, like around that. So the process is really long. So that's why if you see me saying I've done something, I just haven't gotten it out, like, forgive me. Because like animating these episodes takes forever. 11 minutes can take me 30 hours, 35 hours, depending on how intricate the episode is. So forgive me if I don't get something out. But to answer your question, she got married. I forget the name that I gave her. I don't want to say her real name, but she ended up getting married to some guy. And according to Alicia, like, she cheats on the guy all the time. He's like a really nice guy, but not the kind of quality of guy, like aesthetically, that she's used to. But he's like, so it's kind of messed up. She like cheats on him. But yeah, Bruce had her turned out. Bruce, she didn't know she was coming or going with Bruce with that Bruce. She had no idea Bruce put that thing on her. I tried to warn her. I told her she didn't want that smoke. I tried to warn her. Trying to, I think there we go. You never try to wife the rebound. I know. What the hell is that? But thing is, I didn't want to wife her. I was just mad she didn't want to boo me up. Like the fact that she's the one who curved me. I'm like, ho, how you gonna be the not cute one and then not want me to meet your parents? Talk about ego. Talk about ego. Shout out to the fellow millennials. I always say I'm a zennial. Shout out to the late Gen Z, early millennials. Like it's a gang. We out here. The last ones who specifically like the early millennials, even like the mid millennials, who knew an analog world. You know what I mean? Like who knew who parents might have had a rotary phone, who had beepers or was around for the beeper days. Like shout out to that. I did not make the not attractive ladies look ashy. Did they look ashy? If they looked ashy, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make them look ashy. The Ryan B stories are great. My favorite was he's pretending to be Hispanic. That's it's a true story. I need y'all to believe this. I did not make that story up. He literally was telling women he's half Cape Verdean and half Brazilian. And we only know this is because Tiff catfished him. And again, we ain't had that word catfish back then, but my sister like created an AOL account and had to know why girls were calling the house asking for Poppy. And he had an English to Spanish dictionary in the house. It was actually mine. Like I took 3 semesters of Spanish in college. Like I can't really speak a lick of it right now, which is kind of messed up. But like I had 3 semesters of Spanish. So he took my Spanish dictionary and was like speaking unconjugated Spanish to these goofy girls who didn't even realize that in Cape Verde or Brazil, neither one of those countries speak Spanish. So that's a true story. That's 100% a true story. Down to my sister catfishing him. And again, we didn't have that term back then. Like this was before the movie and the TV show. So that's a true story. Like my brother literally was lying to these girls and he was literally calling him Poppy. I wish I was lying about that. Hey Laura, thank you for being here. And it's good to be live. I appreciate you being here. I can't promise doing anything on Sundays. No worries. Do you ever think that it would have occurred if you told the DC girl you didn't have the bread to take her out? So there's an episode. I think I named her Chloe, which is way too close to her real name. So I was talking to this woman after I dated the lightning bug chick. And I only call her that because I don't want to call her. I struggle with the fake names because I be wanting to call them their real names so bad. But that KJ is what I think I named her. I dated this woman who was from like a really nice area in Philly, and she moved to DC or suburban DC. And I was like so broke at the time trying to make it work, but I also had like pride that I didn't want to tell her I ain't have a lot of money. And dating in DC is dumb expensive. Like dating in Philly back then is like you go do something, you go to dinner and then you just like go chill. Dating in DC was like you get appetizers at one place, you get dinner at another place, and you get drinks at another place. Like dating her was cooking my pockets. But I was too proud to tell her that I didn't have the money. And she didn't break up with me. Like, she didn't stop talking to me because I ain't have money. But I think maybe if I would have told her that, like maybe she'd have cut me a break. Like, but the way she seen it is like, yo, you got it, so we gonna do it. So yeah, I wonder. I don't know the answer to that question, King J, but I wonder if I was more honest with her, would things have been different? Bro, I love your content. Thank you, Downwan. Thank you. I appreciate that 100%. I got more episodes coming. I'm trying to put something up every week. It's difficult, but it's rewarding. The Boondock started as a newspaper comic strip 100%. Team Bruce is great. I hope your stories never run out. The thing about it is, and people always ask, how do I have so many stories? Number one, I have a very gifted memory. Long term, I can't remember things from yesterday. But I can tell you what I had on at Club Illusions this one day where Spankin and Moody got into a dance battle. My long-term memory is ridiculous. So we have 365 stories every year, at least. So when people say, how you got so many stories? I'm like, how do you have it just as many as I do, but maybe your memory isn't as good. So I talk about that a lot. Trash Tribe, gang, gang. The trash bags, I like that too. This live format is fire. I thoroughly enjoyed this channel. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. The trash joints, I like that too. Like y'all got the best ideas. Way better than the trash shop. My pop used to spin at Lewin shoes. Word. So Bruce, Bruce uncle through marriage is Chew. That's why we used to always be in there. Like Bruce uncle was Bruce aunt, who I call her aunt too, was with Chew. So that's why we used to always be up in there. Hashtag Trash Tribe. I love all the stories that end up at the Stinger. Rest in peace, Sid Booker. Like he was the owner of the Stinger. Like so, the Stinger, if you didn't know, if you don't know, was it's still around, but I don't think they don't. It's not like a weekly club anymore. I think you can just rent it for like special events. But it was 3 stories, a 3-story club, and each floor had its own DJ, and it'd be parties on each floor, like different parties, like you could like birthday parties and events on each floor. But if you pay for one floor, you got access to all 3 floors, and it just was so fantastic. If we have nothing else to do on a Friday or Saturday night, we knew we could go to the Stinger. It never let us down. And Bruce got so cool with the bouncer whose name was also Bruce. So I call him Bouncer Bruce in the series, that he would just let us skip the line. Like Bruce will always talk shit to him, like go up to him and point at his chest, like I'll knock you the fuck out. I'll beat you. And the dude would just be so tickled at it that he just loved Bruce. Like he was a big dude. His big old head. And we just was like VIP up in that joint. So we would be there every week. And on top of that, like at the corner, you'll see it's called Shrimp Corner. He sells like Sid Booker like sells like shrimp baskets. And they'd be open till like 4 o'clock in the morning. So the Stinger was like our like go-to. No matter what, we could always go to the Stinger. I lost where I was at. The Trash Balls, I like that. Shout out to Flash or whatever you use for your animation. Nah, so I never gatekeep anything. I use an animation. So I can't draw for anything. But what happened was when I was writing on my story. So originally the idea was for this to be live action. And I know a producer out in Hollywood who, shout out to Donnie. I'm not even gonna say I know a producer. Shout out to Donnie Jackson. Like that's my guy. I love Donnie. Not only is he like a colleague in the poetry world or even a mentor in the Hollywood world, but he's a friend. And I told Donnie the idea, and he had been reading the story, so he was like, "Yo, this joint is lit. I think you should do this." But then COVID hit, and so I'm like, "Damn, like we can't do this live action. Who knows how long Hollywood gonna be shut down?" So what I did was I learned how to use. But like prior to that, I was testing out animation suites, and I ain't had no money to like buy an animation suite, so I was just using free, like the free versions of it, or like like little free testing of it. I'm missing the term right now, but yeah. So we would it got so good at animation. Like if like, the first episodes are still up and they're horrible. Like the sound was trash. Like I was using like I didn't even have a mic. I was using like one of these joints that go to your phone, like the little wire that go to your phone. Like this joint, the first episodes, I was like, "Welcome to Trashterpiece Theater, episode 1." Like I had no idea what I was doing, but sometimes it's best to build the plane as you're flying it. So that's what I was doing. And I actually like it as an animation media, specifically now with a character like PP. Like I don't think PP would be a good live action character, but I love like there's a reason that I think it should be animated now. Number one, it's easier to kind of paint that picture of the early 2000s or the late 90s, and the PP character like is just my favorite character to write. Like I love writing Bruce, I love writing Tiff, but PP just is just a whole freaking mess. Like I love writing that PP character. We didn't have a rotary. My grandma had a rotary phone. My grandma had a rotary phone, and the long ass cord that stretched from the kitchen into the living room. Sometimes it looked like the pirates from the movie that they stopped at the light. I don't know what that is. Oh, shout out to L.O. I hope you're still here. Thank you for being here. Yes, I am live, and I'm thinking about doing it more often. Earl Bennett, shout out. Thank you for being a member. Thank you for being a member, Earl. I appreciate that. Y'all help me do so much work. The members and like number one, just being here. Like any if you ever liked the video, thank you. If you ever forwarded to anybody, thank you. If you ever left a comment, thank you. You don't know how much that helps. Like I can't really create on Instagram anymore because anything over 3 minutes they won't show to either my people or anybody new. So really going hard on YouTube has been an amazing experience. Like this is more of a community than I could ever imagine. This doesn't feel like I'm just creating for the void or just creating for some followers. Like y'all feel like community, and I love that. And I'm used to that as a poet in Philly. Like it was always a community. So this YouTube, so creating here has felt like a community. So if you've ever liked the video or commented or shared it, like thank you from the bottom of my heart. If you're a member, thank you, because I've been a full-time artist since 2012. So being able to pay my bills through art has been a beautiful thing. So just thank y'all. If you're a Patreon patron, thank you as well. I'm loving your voice and your experiences are funny. Thank you. The funny thing about my voice is I was always insecure about my voice. Always been insecure about my voice. So when people compliment my voice, that's big for me because that like really validates like an insecurity that I had when I was young. So thank you for that. Would you consider ever taking one of your stories and making it long form fiction movie? Hell yeah, Dwight. The funny thing is, I've made mention that I've had a worse relationship than Alicia, and a worse relationship than the lightning bug chick, and I haven't figured out a way to tell that story yet. But I think that's going to be a long form fictionalized movie. I think that's what it's going to be. And that's already I have a name for that movie already. It's called How to Survive Winter. So I'm trying to figure that out. The DC chick with Sprinkle Sprinkle. Shout out to the Sprinkle lady. At least listen. I don't agree with anything she says, but at least she's consistent. Like she believe what she say, and she consistent. So shout out to her. I don't got no beef with the Sprinkle lady. If you're gonna have a philosophy, at least be consistent. So that's what I say. The stinger was lit. That's not me. Trash gang. Question: as a poet, how much has D'Angelo or Melanie also been important for your foundation as a masculine artist? Broken Berlin, fantastic question. So, being from Philly, which we consider the neo soul mecca, specifically the event, the Black Lily, I was a young boy when that first really got started. Like I remember when Brown Sugar came out. I think I was in high school when that joint dropped. I remember thinking about how, like, just like, in general, like the neo soul artists. So number one, D'Angelo was just dope to me in general because he was so smooth, and as a singer, he just like almost like how Prince just exuded masculinity. Like he just was that kind of dude. But the neo soul men in general, from like music, who I was once fortunate to open up for him, and I don't know, the list goes down like with that. But neo soul in general has been a big part of my coming of age because it was so centric and it was such a big part of Philadelphia. Like I got to perform at the Black Lily, which was dope. Maybe I'll tell that story one day. But the Black Lily was this event in Philly at the 5 Spot, and it was mostly women performers, but it was it was like, I think it was $5 for women and $10 for men, and it was on Tuesday nights. And it's supposed to start at 9, but that shit ain't never start before midnight. And on any given night, and this is real, on any given night, you can just roll up in there and see Jill or Badu, Flowetry, Kendra the Family Soul. You could see like all like the Roots, like you could see any of them on any given night in this one spot. And so me just wanting to be a part of that, and me being a young boy during that time, it gave me something to aspire to. And so that's when I started doing poetry and taking it really serious. And I will always have a love and appreciation for those artists. And I'm friends with some of them now as colleagues and as friends. So that's kind of cool. And others know who I am. So that's also really cool. But I always looked up to the neo soul scene, and that was definitely a big thing for me, whether it was, D'Angelo, or Music Soul Child, or the Roots. Like Dilla's not from Philly, but a big inspiration. He was a big part of that Soulquarium thing, that Soulquarium movement. So yeah, that kind of hurt this week. Like, and again, that's why I want to, if you didn't see the episode, like all of the songs this week that play underneath the episode are either by D'Angelo or D'Angelo featured on them. So it's like, the breakups to makeups joint with Method Man. That's the D'Angelo did the vocals on that joint. The Raphael Sadiq and D'Angelo joint, You Should Be Here, was one of the songs. Devil's Pie is another one of the songs. So like, that's the best way that I could honor him this weekend. I never met D'Angelo. I've never said that I did, but he was a big inspiration, like the neo soul movement in general, but especially D'Angelo. So I hope that answers your question. I love the first episode. The first episode is so terrible, but I'm always going to keep it up to be able to show myself how far I've come. You could keep PP animated like a 2020s Who Framed Roger Rabbit. That would be dope. That would be so dope. That's actually a really, really good idea. That's actually a really good idea. You need a separate website. You're right, I do. And I have the trashterpiecetheater.com domain, but I just never did anything with it. So thank you for that reminder. Your voice is iconic now. What up, Rory? Shout out to Rory still in the chat. Rory is an amazing artist in her own right. She has an amazing comic series called Flashbang. Shout out to Teddy. Teddy Ninja is just an amazing character. So I love to see you, Rory. I appreciate you. And Rory did a voice for the Just the Tip with PP series. Y'all like that, John? Like, I'm trying to work on some short form stuff. So I don't know. I was trying to figure out if I should do a PP advice column or like PP reacting to stuff that's happening on social media. So which one? Like both, one or the other? Like which one would y'all prefer? Let me know in the chat. Yeah, Shira 7. I need to rewatch Brown Sugar. Leave them. We need to bring the Black Lily back. Yo, I was there. Shout out to Stephanie and Renee. They had a black right before the 5 spot burned down. The building burned down. They did a Black Lily reunion. And when I say the line was out the door, down the street, around the corner, around another corner, and around another corner to try to get into that John. But I got in and I got to see India Arie and the Jazzy Fat Nasties and Music Soul Child and the Roots and Kendrick. And it was amazing. Like this one show where everybody just went in. Flowetry was there that night. So it was really, really dope. So shout out to that whole movement. Shout out to the Jazzy Fat Nasties who will never get the credit that they deserve for really putting that together. He said, Music Soul Child got the best friend zone anthems. So more Just the Tip. All right, bet we're gonna do more. We're gonna do PP reactions. So, well, I'll try to do both of them. But yeah, Just the Tip is. I think I'm caught up on the question. 2 times I've seen Raphael Sadiq. He never did Be Here. I was pissed. Be Here is like my anthem. Like when I say they was talking they stuff on that John. Like to say I got more than just a big and some money. That's some game to tell a John. Like, look, girl, I got, because that's a flex. Just to let you know, I do got a big John. And I do got some money, but I got more than that, girl. Like, don't be judging me just for that. You know what I mean? Like, that's some stuff to tell a girl. So first time I heard that, I was like, I see what you did there. I see what you did there, Raphael Sadiq. I see what you did. It's one of my favorite, all-time favorite songs. All-time favorite songs. The beat is crazy. The video is amazing. And they sound great harmonizing together. Last question from me. You can keep asking away as long as I'm here, Broken Berlin. No Limit versus Cash Money is a tough one for me. I would say the funny thing is if Mystical was out, I might go No Limit. I've been going back and forth on this because I loved my favorite No Limit artist was and probably will always be C Murder. That first album was crazy. But I've been going back and forth, and I think it might be Cash Money because they got more like the anthems. Like, that's not, there's no shout out, there's no shade to No Limit. But like it's gonna go crazy when Ha come on and Bling Bling come on and Back That Ass Up come on and Slow Motion come on. Like Cash Money got them hits, man. But I think No Limit got some joints too. And especially if Mystical was out, whew, like he got some joints too. So I don't know. Like I'm gonna be locked in. I'm gonna be locked in. I hope it's as good as the Lox vs. Dipset. But if Wayne pop up, that's gonna be crazy. They should be hosting that versus in New Orleans. They 100% should. I don't understand why wait a minute, they're not. Doesn't make any sense to host it anywhere else. That doesn't make any sense. The Jazzy Fat Nasties were dope. I saw them when they took Black Lily down to DC and performed with Fertile Ground. Wish they were still making music together. You couldn't tell me as a young boy that I wasn't going to have Mercedes Martinez from the Jazzy Fat Nasties. If you don't know the Jazzy Fat Nasties, look them up. amazing work, specifically that first album. But you couldn't tell me I wasn't gonna get her one day. I was an arrogant little something. I thought I was gonna get her, and I thought I was gonna get Amel LaRue. You couldn't tell me I was. And the funny thing is, I flirted with Michelle Martinez one time. They were hosting the Black Lily at Grape Street Pub at one point up in Minneonk, and I flirted with her, and she gave me the little aw tap, and I was like, he tapped me on my damn shoulder like I'm some young boy, but she young boyed the hell out of me, and she should have, and she 100% shouldn't have young boyed me. She did what she was supposed to do. But as far as fertile ground, if you missed the fertile ground movement, you missed. I'm gonna try to word this as nicely as possible. Fertile ground shows used to be the thickest joints you would ever see, with the little rap joints. What is it? The sarongs, or whatever, sarans, or whatever they was called, the little raps in there throwing ass. Fertile ground concerts used to be so lit. The thick neo soul joints used to be in the fertile ground concerts throwing ass to them songs. And man, I went to one fertile ground concert. It was at the 5 Spot. Shout out to Boomy for letting me, for giving me the hookup. And man, it was nothing but bad thick neo soul bohemian joints in there. So if you missed fertile ground, you missed the thick sarong, whatever them things is called, where they wrap it around. Poof, you missed out on that movement. BG, my favorite artist growing up. That's what's up. Question: what inspired you to create poetry and spoken word? So here's the thing. I had to get back to my roots of spoken word and poetry, which is crazy. So originally it was because I'm from North Philly, and because I felt like I had this talent, that I had an obligation to be a voice for people who didn't have a voice. And maybe that's arrogant. That might be really presumptuous. Who, again, my arrogant self, so that would be right on brand. But when I got to college, I had this class, and I wish it was a cooler story, but I had this. I was a history minor, and I had this class, medieval history, and I noticed the professor, and he was a terrible, boring professor. And I noticed if you looked like you were taking notes, he wouldn't call on you. And I would just be in the class pretending like I was taking notes, but I was writing poetry. I was writing spoken word. And so he would be looking at me, like he would be like talking, and he like looking around the room, and I'd just be taking notes, like I was being real deep, like, and I look up like, and then keep writing poetry. He never called on me for the entire semester. So, and then when I got back to Philly, like this was at like the height of the neo soul movement, but they weren't really. This is like Def Poetry Jam time, and Philly was just like crazy. It's like crazy buzzing, and so I wanted to be a part of that movement. But then the crazy part about that is I started to write to impress other writers, and I kind of got away from why I started to write. And so when I'm writing, so I went from writing to being a voice for other people, then writing to impress other people, and then finally landing on writing to free myself. And I ain't even trying to sound deep with that, but writing like airing myself out, all my insecurities, all the things I felt, all my bullshit, all my hypocrisies, like really airing myself out. And I think that was like a deeper version of what Trashterpiece is. Trashterpiece is like airing myself out and the dumb stuff I did comedically, and being able to grow from it and show like how I went from being this young boy to being this grown young boy, I would say, and what I learned in the process. So just being like looking out and seeing the world, I would write about that. And then the hard part was actually looking inside and writing about that. So that was like the process and the journey of me as a writer. So now, like, whenever I feel like I'm on some bullshit, I gotta write about my own BS. That really inspires me. It's in Vegas. That's so stupid. It definitely should be it should definitely be in New Orleans. Anybody from New Orleans in here? I love New Orleans. I got a very interesting New Orleans story, and it's not like Trashterpiece worthy, but I was doing a show in New Orleans, poetry show. I was on tour, and it was my first time there, and one of my tour mates was in like this really toxic relationship, and this is like our third tour together, and we had never been to New Orleans, and he didn't want to go out because like the girl he was seeing was like thinking he was cheating while he was on the road, and he would like go back to the freaking hotel or whatever. So man, the third tournament, we was like, screw it, we in New Orleans, we going out. I ain't never been down Bourbon Street and we going out. So all I knew about Bourbon Street was like the grenade joints, the big drinks with the grenade at the bottom. Like, we going to get a grenade. We ain't ate all day, mind you. We hadn't eaten anything all day. We had just finished this show. We went back to the hotel, dropped ourselves, hopped in the rental. We going down Canal Street, Bourbon Street, and we find the hand grenade and we drown them joints. It's like, yo, this is light. This ain't nothing. We going back to get another one of these joints. Man, listen, I don't know how I got back to the car. I have no idea how I got back to the rental. But all I know is I remember waking up with the sunroof open in the middle of the night in New Orleans, looking up at the sky, both of us like reconsidering every decision we had ever made in life. Thank God I wasn't like dumb drunk where I started the car up, or even like a cop came by and saw that I was drunk in the car, because you can get a DUI. Even if you ain't pull off, you can get a DUI for just being in the car with the car keys. But I remember like, yo, I am never drinking again. And I wanted to get another one. But that night we did actually play this joint too. Like I'm maybe I'll do like a on the road series or something like that. Cause I've been everywhere. Poetry has taken me everywhere from Fairbanks, Alaska to like the West Bank, like literally Palestine. So maybe I'll do some stories from the road one day, if that's what y'all want to talk about. If that's what y'all be interested in. Saran, is that Saran? I don't Sarongs, that's what it is. So I'm all over the place. I don't be knowing what this stuff is. All I know is they was thick. What is your artist you're ashamed to love? For example, we'll always put Tada Hikaru in my top 3 singers. I don't know if I have an artist I'm like ashamed of. Maybe songs that I'm probably not proud that I know the whole thing. Like, I sing an Ace of Base song in a minute. I don't care what nobody say. But it's not like, I would say maybe artists that y'all might not think that I would like, because I'm very, very hip hop coded. But like those, I'm big time into like a lot of the 80s pop and rock. Like my mom was, the funny thing is, Paridi, my pop was into, like, he was heavy Public Enemy. He was heavy like Rakim and Big Daddy Kane. And again, he still listened to like 70s stuff, because that's when he came of age. So, he did pop, he'll pop in like a Led Zeppelin or Earth, Wind and Fire all day. But my mom was into like Phil Collins and REO Speedwagon, Sting, Duran Duran, Oingo Boingo, like that whole wave in the 80s. Like, I listened to a lot of that music. So Sting is one of my favorite artists of all time. Phil Collins is a big one for me. Madonna, I used to love me some Madonna, yo. Like, don't let Borderline come on, because I'm be singing that at the top of my lungs. I'm be acting a whole. You think I light skin squinting the I'm be light skin squinting in that joint and doing all kinds of 80s dances if Borderline come on. Like, that was I used to love that song. Your voice is the star of the show. Ty Mills, thank you. I appreciate that. And I have fun doing the other voices too. I don't think that I'm a particularly gifted voice actor, but I love doing the PP voice. Tiff's voice is like this deeper kind of voice. Ryan's voice is based on, I used to date this woman. This woman, I said it was the worst relationship I've ever been in, but she had a son, and he was like the best kid ever. It's the only woman I've ever dated with a kid. And it's not that I'm not like anti, I don't even want to get into that conversation, because that can go somewhere crazy. But she had a son who I just adored. I adored her son. I was like raising him as my own. And the funny story behind this, like the voice I use for Ryan, and it's very close to Ryan's voice when he was young. Whenever I have to do Ryan's voice, and Rory I think you might have seen it. Rory was in the studio when we filmed the episode. He was a very passive aggressive kid, and I'm like, yo, we got to break him out of this. Like, and his mom was fine with him being, I'm like, nah, like, you can't be this passive aggressive and not, you got to go for you got to ask for what you want in life. Sometimes you got to go get what you want in life. And so we came in with this cake, and I knew he was going to want some of the cake, but I wanted him to ask for a slice of the cake. And we're sitting there tearing this cake up right in front of his face, and he's looking at us, but he won't ask for a slice. And so he says, oh man, I sure wish I knew what that tastes like. I was so through. Like, why would you just ask for some damn cake? I couldn't believe he said, I sure wish I knew what that tastes like. It's like, who does that? So that's the voice I use for Ryan's voice, because it's very similar to how Ryan used to talk when he was little. But he really was like, oh man, I sure wish I knew what that tastes like. And that's the voice that I use for Ryan. Um, I don't think I'm a particularly talented voice actor, so the women voices are egregious. But I think it adds a little bit of charm into it, knowing that this humongous human being is doing women's voices. But shout out to Ish and Tanisha and Rory, who've come in to help me do some voices, and I'm going to be leaning more into that going forward. North Philly, shout out to North Philly. Sounds like Afro punk back in its beginning. Very much so. Afro, like a lot of things, when it becomes corporate and there's a lot of money involved, like it kind of changes. But the Black Lily never changed. I'm trying to see if I missed any. Them grenades, what have you, bruh? You ain't never got to tell me. I remember when I went to spoken word at Darling's Palace, pulled a bad neo soul. So DJ Faye, Darling's Palace was like my first home venue. Shout out to Stacy and Chuck. Darling's Palace was on Broad and Thompson in North Philly. And every Thursday night they had something called Just Words, and it was like the place to be, man. It was like a juke joint almost. Like it was so raw. And what I didn't know at the time was Stacy Dowling didn't make he didn't pull a profit off that event in the first 9 years. It took him 9 years to make a profit off of it, but he kept the event going because he made money doing other stuff. Like he made money renting out the venue on other nights, but he also knew that artists needed a place to perform, and it was a community. So I will forever be in debt to Stacy Dowling and Chuck Dowling, who kept that venue going for years and gave so many of us a place to perform and a place to be. But it was also ratchet because I seen this girl get beat up in that joint. One of the hosts, he was like messing around with her. I ain't gonna say his name, but this is my homie. I love you to death, but I'm gonna tell this story, bro. He's one of my homies. He's messing with. He had a fiance, but he's also messing with his other joint. And she did this piece called Spoken Word Horror, where she basically waited for his fiance to come to the event to do this poem and made it very obvious that they were sleeping together. And the following week, she pulled up and was like, yo, can I come to you? I'm coming to you as a woman. Can we have a conversation and go in the bathroom and talk? And she didn't know that there was other girls in that bathroom waiting for her, and they beat the shit out of her. I was like, hey, yo, this is crazy. So a lot of the venues, like the venue that I said, the episode of Jane, the woman with multiple personalities, I met her at Just Words. It's a couple of stories that start at Dowling's Palace, Just Words. So like shout out to Stacy. I'm gonna love you forever. You my bro. You my old head. You my bro. Thank you. Hella dudes want to. I had my eye on Tracy though. So Tracy was the other person in Jazzy Fat Nasty's. Tracy was thick, but she was always pregnant. So I'm like, and shout out to her for being a mom. But like I guess she was always pregnant, so I could never look at her like that. But yes, Tracy was bad as hell too. I didn't lie. I did not lie about the Fertile Ground audiences. They was crazy. Was the story about your poetry counterpart stealing the girl's cat? It wasn't my counterpart. It was the host of the venue. His name was Kays. I'm gonna say his name. His name was Kays. He 100% stole, and that was Just Words. He stole this girl's cat. He like cheated on her and stole her. He cheated on her with her sister, and then stole her cat. And she came to the venue like airing him all out. And so anytime people like, whenever he was hosting, we would just make cat sounds like meow. And used to piss him off, but like, yo, you should never stole that girl cat. Thank you, TSI, about this being a deep space or a safe space. Do you like Talking Heads? Talking Heads got some hits, yo. Talking Heads have hits for days. I was just jamming to Phil Collins. Phil Collins got bops and ballads like all day. Like I love Phil Collins. My favorite part of the episodes is the great music you add. So I always say there's 3 characters of the show that aren't credited, and that's Philly. Philly is a main character. The era, the late 90s into early 2000s. Like I always say that the 90s, I think I got this from Javon Johnson, who's a poet, but the 90s was 3 separate decades. Like that 88 to 93 is like his own decade. Like the New Jack Swing thing, and then like I've always felt like Illmatic kind of ushered in that and maybe it was Low End Theory, or kind of ushered in that mid 90s, that 90 late 93 to 94 into like 97ish, 98 maybe is his own era, and then like 98 to like 2002 is his own decade. So I always try to say like that era, that late 90s to early 2000s, is his character of his own, and then the music is his own character. So sometimes it takes me so long to get the right music to set the tone for each episode or each scene or each section of the episode. So the music is a character in its own. So I appreciate that y'all appreciate that, because that I don't take that lightly. Like it has to, the music has to set the tone, and it's always, and if you peep, you can almost always tell the year that this happens, because I try my best to grab music from that exact year when it happened. So I may never say the year was 2002, but if you look, it'll all be like 2002 songs, with the exception of this week was all D'Angelo from all eras. Nugget, can you not bump the table? Like with the same house party, stop bumping the table, dickhead. I have a 8-year-old pit bull who thinks he's a 2-year-old Pomeranian, so name Nugget. Hey, he also has pica, so I gotta make sure he ain't eating paper all the time. Don't eat that. What do you? This dog is a mess. He be knocking stuff off the table to try to like sneak it. So if it's like a wrapper or something, so I gotta be real careful with napkins and stuff. Silencio gets me every time. My brother swear he knows Spanish. Poor little Tink Tink. That was about the kid. I miss Fizo. Fizo's was the spot on 15th and South. Man, Fizo. So quick Bruce story. He gonna kill me for this. Bruce, I can't tell this story. I gotta ask permission for this. But either way, me and Bruce got a Fizo story, and I'm gonna ask permission. And if you tell me yes, I'm gonna tell this story. It's a quick story too, but I don't want to put him out there, his business out there, because he cussed me out. Bruce got COVID. I'm gonna tell this story. Bruce had so in the early days of COVID, Bruce got sick, and it's back when we didn't really know what it was. So this like the very beginning of it, before there was any kind of like anything for it. And so Bruce was like, he got it, and I called him. He has it. And he's like in quarantine, and so I put up a thing at the end of an episode that said, "Hey, pray for Bruce." You know what I mean? Like, send Bruce some good, some good wishes or whatever. He called me and cussed me the hell out. Why the hell you telling people that I got this? You making it so I ain't gonna never get no pussy again. I'm like, it's not an STD, dude. Like, why are you tripping? But he really said, if people know that I got this, I might never get laid again. I'm like, Bruce, it's not that serious. Trust me. I just want people to send you good wishes and some good vibes. It's not that serious. But I was dying. He cussed me out about telling people that he had. So now I'm like real nervous about what I share with him, like recent stuff anyway. But that's kind of leading into a personal story, and I don't know if he wants that out there. The Fizo story, but shout out to Fizo. Fizo was lit. Found your channel a few months ago and I meant to start watching, but it got distracted. Fast forward to 3 or 4 days ago, I've been binge watching. As a 96 high school grad, love the content. Shout out Asia, like Asia, the mid-90s graduates. That's what I'm talking about. I appreciate that. Thank you. And thank you for binging. I hope you see growth, if nothing else. Like, again, like the episode, like each era, like even with me redoing some older episodes, I always feel like I can do better with some of the episodes I've done. So where's Whiskers? I'm trying to catch up, but shout out to Cage really stole that girl's cat. The music in your video is top tier. Thank you, Down One. I appreciate that. I'm from the city. You one of the best storytellers I've ever heard. Streets Reported, thank you. I try to tell my stories as if we on the block or if we in the barbershop, and I hope it comes off that way while still sounding professional. Like, I think I'm growing as a screenwriter, but I still try to keep that element of the block or the barbershop or the salon, you know what I mean? Like, where it's real conversational and real relatable. What made you go, what is Aziz Collins song at the end of your video? I got hooked on that song because of you. So I am a huge Aziz Collins fan, and I am a colleague of his, and I consider him a friend. And he came up with this album, and I thought the album was phenomenal. And I know, like, he and I've had conversations, and he's put so much work into this album, and he couldn't even get it reviewed. Like none of the magazines will review it. None of the magazines will help him promote it or market it. And I always said, like, if I ever have a platform, I am going to blast your music. And I got a platform. And I said, I'm gonna keep my promise. And shout out to him because I didn't even ask him at first. You know, I asked him after the fact, and I gave him a couple dollars. When I won the film festival for the Three Joints One Night episode, like I broke him off a couple dollars. I broke him off like half of what I made, and just as a thank you, like, yo, thank you for letting me use this joint. But I always said that I would, if I ever got a platform, I would blast his music. And that song is my favorite song on the album. But he has so many other great songs on the album. Nighttime Daydreamer. It's just a great album. So I always said I wanted to look out for him, and not if, when this series gets picked up by somebody smart in Hollywood, or whether like whatever the streamers or whoever helps me produce this joint and take it to a bigger platform, that's going to be one of the things I'll fight for, to make sure that this remains a theme of the song. So Aziz Collins, like I respect you. I love you, brother. Like I love your music, and I saw what you went through with the industry, and if I can continue to help, I 100% will. The craziest one was with the girl that tried to set you up, but you heard her in the other room. Oh, that was the joint in Chester. Another true story. Like again, all these Jones is true, or at least based on some true stories. So that sometimes I have to like fictionalize it a little bit so that it's not obvious who I'm talking about. Because Philly is small. Specifically, the art community is very small. So yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, she 100% tried to get me jammed in Chester, and I shouldn't have been in Chester as it is. Like people in Philly know, like if you live in Chester, I mean, you live in Philly, you don't go to Chester. You supposed to know better. I don't know what I was thinking, but she was bad. Little slim, thick chocolate. She was so bad. But men do dumb stuff for bad Jones. I line myself up with that one. What did I miss? Shout out to Bruce. Can we see Nugget? Nugget. So first of all, I put up a picture of Nugget. Nugs. He hates cameras, so like he hates camera. Yeah, dog pica. My dog has pica. He will eat socks. Nugget, you want to get on camera? You want to come up here? Come here. Jump up. You want to jump up? No. No. I put a picture on the community page. Though I have a red nosed pit bull, and he is a cutie pie. There was an old Nugget. Stop making noises. Don't be making grunts. Don't be grunting. Can y'all hear him grunting? Do y'all hear that? I hope y'all can hear that. He talks all the time, but he just grunts. JT Reddick, thank you. I appreciate you being here. Pops hooking up the Jungle Love, playing in the background, help me on the floor. I'm thinking about giving everybody their own hookup music, so it's not always the Uncle Luke song. But that made more sense to me. I was thinking like an Earth, Wind, and Fire song, but I love Morris Day. I just think he is like the preeminent 80s F boy. Like, I love Morris Day. He's so trash. Especially I don't know him as a person, but the characters that he portrays have been so trash. I'm a DJ, so I have to give a nod to the attention to detail within your music. That means a lot to me, AJ, because again, I'm sometimes it takes me hours to get the music right. And sometimes it's like, even when I'm about to post, I'm like, this song don't really match the tone, and I might post a little bit late because I'm trying to get the music just right. So I'm a stickler to detail. Dang, now I'm over here singing "Be Here" while heading up an Aldi burrito. Yo, shout out to Aldi. I love him. I'm team Aldi all day. Where am I at? Been watching for years. Much love from South Carolina. Thank you, Ija. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. More creative Wendy slander, please. I was asked by somebody in the industry to let up off Wendy, and I was like, no. But then I felt it in my heart to like stop throwing shade at Wendy, because I was gonna start throwing shade at somebody else. Somebody did me dirty recently, like this year, and I started to do. If you see, there's one episode where I took shots at this person, but then I was asked to not, like, yo, like chill, like that's like we have a lot of mutual friends, and it was like, this is gonna start something really big, and so that's not why I did it. I did it because my therapist was like, yo, just let it go. Like, karma's gonna get this person. And so I let up on Wendy because I felt like, she going through enough. But you will every once in a while I will put a little Easter egg in there for y'all. And I let up I only did one episode with the other person because I had to let that go for myself. But there were people hitting me up behind the scenes. Celebrities was hitting me up behind the scenes like, yo, please don't do this. Because if you make us ride, I gotta ride with you, but it's gonna be people who ride with him. It's gonna get ugly. Then I said him, but whatever. So yeah, I left that alone. Not because of that, because I'm ready to go to war about mine whenever. But I had to let that go for myself. And shout out to my therapist for that. Hollywood better get their coin together because we need all the cutaways. Facts. Facts. Get that money, Holly. Like again, like it's gonna okay, here Nugget. Little grunting ass. He don't want to be Joe, but he want to draw. He definitely Nugget be drawing. Nugget draws so hard. I got a story about Chester going to see some girls and almost got in a shootout, bruh. Like we be out of pocket going to Chester. We're not supposed to go to Chester. For those who not from Philly, Philly is very serious about the borders. Like I feel like in LA, I mean not in LA. Well, even in LA is like LA County. Like you don't have to be from Los Angeles like proper. If you're from Inglewood, it's still LA because it's like LA County basically. But and I feel like with Atlanta, even though that one song was like, it's not Atlanta. I feel like if you're from College Park or if you're from Lithonia, if you're from, different parts outside, they still say Atlanta. And Philly, if you're not from Philly, you're not from Philly. It's Philly, it's outside of Philly, and then it's Pennsylvania. Like that's how it is. People in Philly don't say that we from Pennsylvania. And if you're from Bucks or like lower Bucks, not even upper, but you're from lower Bucks, Montgomery County, parts of Chester County and Delaware County, that's outside of Philly. And Chester is a city outside of Philly, but it's two completely different cultures. Like they will never say they from Philly. They would say like Chester is outside of Philly, but they would never say they was from Philly. Like how somebody from like Tucker, Georgia, would say they from Atlanta, just like because like this, you never heard of Tucker, so but they're gonna say they from Chester or from right outside of Philly. But it's hood. Like they don't play. Chester is hood. So there's no reason for Philly people to go to Chester. There's nothing there for us unless you go into like the soccer game. But even then, that's just a soccer. That's a stadium. There's no reason for us to be there at all, and I shouldn't have been there at all. So if you was there, like you was out of pocket. You shouldn't have been there, DJ Faze. I did call his ass out. Wendy did me bad at Powerhouse getting tickets. When you told that story, it brought up a bad memory. Wendy did a lot of people bad, so I don't like to say anything is somebody's karma because that ain't up for me. But Wendy did a lot of people bad. Not the therapist hitting you with the "don't do it, reconsider, read some literature on the subject." I'm a forward it what you just said, but yeah, my therapist was like, "Yo, let that go, man. This is a part of your healing. You gotta let that go and let people's karma be their karma." Because he knew he was wrong. He knew he was wrong for that. And the story behind that was I tried to pitch Trashterpiece Theater. He was the first person I went to. I'm not gonna say his name, but you can figure this out if you go back and watch the episode because he's in the episode. So if you go back a ways back, you'll see who I was throwing shots at. But I tried to pitch to him on three separate occasions through a mutual, through somebody that I went to school with, who is very close to him. And it was like so the truth is he tried to redo it on Instagram at first. He was sent my episode and he tried to redo it and it was trash. And that's still up. That's still on his page. But he wouldn't meet with me. He wouldn't talk to me. It's like, all right, cool, whatever. You don't owe me nothing. A producer tried to hit him up and was like, yo, it's this Philly boy. It's like this is right up your alley. You should really work with him. He's like, nah, I'm not doing animation. It's like, all right, cool, you're not doing animation. A third person tried to hit him up who is John Singleton's protege. And she was like, yo, I got to end with him. Like, I'm gonna hit him up now. Like, there's no reason y'all shouldn't be working together. And he told her, I can't do anything edgy because I've been in trouble. And I'm trying to stay in this one pocket. And if I do anything edgy, it's gonna be a problem. So then a couple years later, I'm like, yo, you got an edgy animated comedy. You said you wasn't doing animation or nothing edgy, and now you got an edgy animated comedy that takes place around the same time with the same theme, and that's when you. So I kind of flew off the handle a little bit, but I'm glad I didn't draw. I was about to draw. I'm gonna leave that alone, AJ. I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna leave that one alone. Inglewood is in LA City, but you might be thinking of Compton. I'm definitely thinking of Compton. My bad about it. I'm thinking Compton. Um, I'm thinking Compton. Oh, I was thinking Compton, Long Beach. Um, so forgive me, Inglewood people. I'm thinking Compton. I'm thinking Long Beach. I'm thinking cities outside of LA proper that still consider themselves LA. And nobody like it's just different like that. If it's who we think it is, he lives his karma. That man is not happy. I don't got nothing to do with that. I wish him nothing but luck. I wish him nothing but love and success and all that. Yo, this is crazy. We an hour and 20 minutes in. 58 people is in this joint. I didn't expect anybody to be in this joint. I appreciate y'all for being here. And again, we can do this more often if this is something that y'all like. Again, we can talk about different things. We can talk about different topics. Again, I actually came in here to talk about the hotel episode that I put up not this week but the previous week. Again, which is my favorite episode to talk about. And again, when I say I downplayed that episode. I didn't want to get too much into their appearances because I didn't want that to be a thing in the chat. I didn't want to but that was interesting. It was, and again, the funny thing is, even when I did it the first time, when I told the story the first time, I didn't even realize there was some issues around consent in that genre. But I guess I'm telling yo, this is not consent. There's nothing about this was consensual. And if the genders were reversed, if it was some older men who had trapped some young women in a room, this would have been crazy. So I had to put that kind of disclaimer at the end because now that I know better, I gotta do better kind of situation. But that's my favorite story to tell. Yeah, the joint with the Cougars. It was a mess. But it was a good lesson for us to not be greedy. Because again, we had the best situation at the Stinger that night. I have never been to the Stinger where it was that crazy, where it was literally 20-1. So I had never been in a situation like that where it was that crazy. And for us to leave to try to find something better was a good lesson to us. And all the signs from the universe was there to yo, do not leave here. Us not knowing what hotel it was at first. And Smitty is a real person. I use his real name to be petty. Then getting there and that's us not knowing the hotel room, and we literally went into different directions. Now I hope I painted a good enough picture of the hotel. It wasn't a motel, but it was kind of set up like a motel where when you come outside and you're outside of, it's not it wasn't like a hotel hallway indoors. It was almost like a dorm suites. But they were suite rooms, and it used to be called the Philadelphia Suites at the time, and I think it's called the Hawthorne Suites now. I think it was the Residence Inn at one point down at the airport. And so we were literally going around listening to the doors, drawing, and it was a mess. It was so many signs for us to just go home and pack it up. And it was literally two women at the door blocking the door from us leaving. The one part that I didn't put in the story, and I need for y'all to understand this. I think I put it in the original story, but I didn't put it in this version. When we got in there, it was pitch black. And then when I looked around the room, when I was scanning the room, I noticed that the lights was on. How the hell is the lights on? And this pitch, it was number one, it was so many of them, but they were also grown women, big, that they were soaking up the light in the room. And I'm not lying to you. These were some big, grown women. And we were not ready for that level of depravity. We were not ready for that level. And yes, Ron is not his name at all, but I didn't want to use his real name because he's married now. And I don't know if his wife know that he was into some stuff like that. But he 100% stayed. And the part that I left out was the woman that was in front of me, took my shirt off and kept my shirt. He had to return my shirt the next day. So I edited that part out because I didn't really carry the story forward. But he had to return my shirt the next day. The woman, they were stripping me. It was crazy. And again, I need y'all to understand, these are some hustlers. These are some on the block boys who was we was in there scared. I am thug adjacent. I need for that to be known. I am thug adjacent. But they was like literally like stripping us, and Wayne and Rob running around the room, and Nell is up against the wall so nobody could sneak up behind him. And then Ron, he on the couch like, let's go. Like when I say they swarmed him, it was, you know how hyena will like rush a carcass. That's what it looked like. That's what it looked like. But yeah, yeah, Phase. You say you got a story. I am looking for stories for season 2 of Trash Can Time Machine. So hit me on IG and I'll send you the link, the form to fill out. And if anybody else want to tell a story, I'll send you the form to fill out. So forgive me if I haven't returned it, but I have them. I do have them, and we will be. And hopefully, I'll have a little bit of help to somebody to help me organize this and like to make sure I get back to y'all. But I am definitely thug adjacent. I not thugnificent. I am thug adjacent. I will never, nobody will ever tell you I sold a rock on the block or I bust no shots. That was not me. I used to just be with them dudes. You know, I ain't never ran from no fight. Like if we was fighting, we was fighting. But I wasn't no tough guy. I never pretended to be a tough guy. I just was with the tough guys. Would you write a book or have you already? I have a poetry book. I have a couple poetry books. I haven't been selling them recently. But the funny thing is I started a Trashterpiece book with all the stories written. I just never finished it. Is that something that would y'all want to own these stories? Like, would that be something that y'all would be interested in? Like, if buying these, like having like a tabletop book or like a book with these stories in it. Like, I started writing that, but I just didn't finish it. So yeah, I'll get back on that though. If that's something that y'all do when the stamina ran out. That part is true too. They literally chased us barefoot. So that's why it was important for y'all to know that it wasn't like a hotel hallway running down. Like a hotel hallway, a carpeted hallway is a lot different than running barefoot outside on cold cement. And they chased us for about 20 yards and they just gave up. I was so grateful that they gave up. So that was dope. That was so I'm gonna flesh that idea out with the I was also thinking about doing like a card game. Like I've been like fleshing out this concept to do this card game, almost like Mafia. What's the Mafia and what's the other one? Mafia and I forget the other game. It's like Mafia, but yeah, it's like I've been fleshing out an idea for a card game. So yeah, trying to figure that out. Some merch ideas, and it's more trying to get to bigger platforms. But more than anything, like if nothing else, like I'm just happy that y'all tune in every week to this ridiculousness. Settlers of I've never heard that, but it's like the Mafia game, or let me look this up. What's the it's another game I'm thinking of specifically. Werewolf. That's what I was thinking of. Werewolf. Like the werewolf game, the Mafia game. Trashterpiece Monopoly would be hilarious. PP sending y'all niggas to jail would be hilarious. PP is such a, when I say I thought of PP out of nowhere, like it wasn't even something I had planned to do. Like I remember talking to some people about this idea with PP, and it was only going to be one episode like that. So what happened with PP is, if anybody's interested in how PP came around, I was doing an episode about how I had met this John. She lived in like, so South Jersey, people think of South Jersey like Camden. And you know, Camden and Cherry Hill, and like if you're from the area, you know what I'm talking about. But there's another part of South Jersey that's like farmland. That's like deep South Jersey, like Salem County, Cumberland County. And I met a John on AOL that lived out that way, like Bridgeton, like out that way, but like more rural. Like Bridgeton is like a little town down there, but like it wasn't in Bridgeton. And so as I'm typing the story out, I'm like, what the hell? I'm thinking, what the hell was I going? What the hell made me do this? Like this was like before like GPS, so this is like MapQuest direction days. What the hell made me do this? Why would I go out of my way to be into the state, like go all the way out into like farm corn land to go smash this joint? And I was like, your PP, your wee made you do it. And I was like, what if I made my PP a character? So it was only supposed to be for that one episode. It was only supposed to be for that one episode, but I enjoyed writing that character so much. I was like, yo, I need to I want to continue like having this character as like this inner monologue, this inner dialogue, this because I feel like we all can relate to that when we were specifically when we were young, we were like raging with hormones. Like this inner voice telling you, nah, fuck it, just go ahead and do it. But did you die? Like it was we did so much dumb stuff just because we was like horny and young with like and just listening to like the wrong head. So I'm glad that I did that. Will the Trashterpiece gods ever return? I was kind of kicking that idea around at the time. Like I was just having so much fun doing that. But the god, we might have to redo the gods. Future will always be the god. Will be the biggest god. We might have to redo what the gods are though. Um, I know I remember having Janae Aiko as one of the guys, and people were so mad about that. I'm like, if you listen to that lyrics, Janae Aiko is an F boy. PP's plaid boxer background be taking me out every time. Yeah, I wanted so with the series, like you can tell when time moves forward because the characters have on different outfits or at least different colors of the same outfit. So I wanted to make sure that I could stay true with that and have different plaid backgrounds for PP to let you know that PP has on different underwear. It's not the same draws every day on PP. So like that little bit of detail is important to me, like making sure that I'm able to push the story forward to show that we have on different outfits and PP must have on different draws. Because that'll be funny if every day, the Perry character has on like a different shirt or a sweater and then PP got the same drawers on. Like that'd be disgusting. So I wanted to make sure that was and I never said like, hey, this is different draws. I'm glad that y'all picked that up. And for those talking about MapQuest, like MapQuest will send you I missed out on a job because MapQuest sent me in the wrong direction. It sent me to a dead end. Like on the other side of the dead end was the job, but there was no entrance to get into the job right there. So it took me, I had to go all the way around this compound, which was like another 10 minutes because it wasn't like going right around the corner. And he was like, yeah, we loved you, but you were late and we can't depend on you. It's fucking MapQuest. Can't say how many times one of the homies was like, yo, ride me out to blank. I'm going to see this new girl. Our peens definitely got us into trouble in our teens and early 20s. Dude, we did so much dumb stuff just to get laid. And that's one of the most important things about Trashterpiece to me is I don't want my series to be like trauma porn. Like I love shout out to any writers who are doing stuff like people getting shot or drug dealers or Big Mama dying and all that stuff. For me, I want Trashterpiece to be our super bad, our American Pie, where we can just be young and dumb and make mistakes all in trying to get laid. Because while we were hood, and while again I ran with some dudes who did some crazy stuff, like some thug stuff, that's not what I remember being young. I remember being young and dumb. I remember being like against I like I'm not from Superbad, the suburb, whatever town they were from in Superbad, but I related to Superbad and American Pie because this might be like a white neighborhood or a white community, but I related to that because I did the same dumb stuff. So I could laugh at that. So I don't want my show. And again, pitching in Hollywood has been interesting. And it's not like I've pitched in a while. I haven't pitched in a while because, I don't, for whatever reason, I haven't been pitching. I haven't had the opportunity to pitch, I should say. But people would always ask me, was this going to be like this? It's like, I'm not, I don't want to do no hood cliches. I don't want to do that. Like, again, if it's something that makes sense, maybe, but I don't want to do that where it's like these hood cliches all the time. Like that's been done. And I don't have no shade to anybody who's doing it. I just don't want to do it. So I want to have this carefree kind of show where we just do dumb stuff. And that's why, and it's kind of in the same lane, in the same vein as the Boondocks with that, because when they talked about a cliche, it was for the sake of talking about a cliche, not trying to get off an episode about a cliche. Like they leaned into it as like satire. And while that's not what I want to do, I think that's dope. But I want this to be our carefree kind of comedy where we just existed to be young and dumb and make mistakes because everybody can relate to that. Whether you white, black, man, woman, we can all relate to just doing dumb stuff when we was little. But the best part about the 2000s and the early late 90s, no evidence, no social media, no evidence. So I love that. Great concept. Thank you. I appreciate that. Not the soul food reference. I love soul food. One of my favorite episodes, one of my favorite movies, but that ain't what I'm trying to do with my series. Superbad was the type of high school experience I wanted, unfortunately. Yeah, Superbad is one of my favorite all-time comedies. That era of comedy I thought was really dope, like Superbad, Old School. Like I love that era. Wedding Crashers, 40-Year-Old Virgin. Like that era was a great era for comedy. Um, so yeah, I like to think I like to consider myself kind of edgy like that, but not grotesque. And that was one of the critiques I was getting in Hollywood. It's like, yo, during this Me Too kind of era, we ain't doing nothing edgy, which is ironic. Which is ironic because the person who started Me Too, Tarana Burke, watches Trashterpiece. Tarana Burke, who started the Me Too movement, is a Patreon patron. How you gonna tell me? So that's been really interesting to see, like, hey, we living in the Me Too world and we can't do this. And I'm like, how you gonna tell me? Like, Tarana follows me. I just hosted an event for Tarana in New York. So what are we talking about? Like, she loves the show. It's about consent. It's not about not having sex. It's about having sex consensually. And we all have these experiences, whether we in Europe, Africa, South America, North America, we being young and dumb, trying to get laid is a universal experience. So how you going so that always took me out that was one of the that's been the consistent excuse in Hollywood when talking about my show. That's always been it's been weird to me. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. So whatever. I can get into Hollywood and pitching and the experiences I've had with that. And some of them have been great and some of them have been terrible. Um, but I ain't gonna I won't get too much in the weeds in that. Um, your perspective is dope. Have you ever considered getting on the relationship guru lane? Um, nah, nah. I can't really tell somebody what to do. I can just tell you what not to do. I can tell you what didn't work for me. I ain't married, never been married, so I can't tell you how to have like a successful relationship. And I always felt that was kind of scammy. And not saying that everybody who's doing that is scammy, because some people who do that, I'm like, yo, you have a really good perspective. And if people are asking for advice and you're giving them advice without scamming them, they're not a scammer. But some of that stuff is really scammy. Like, how you been doing this since 2014, giving relationship advice since 2014, and ain't been in a relationship since 2014? How is that a thing? How are you, like, most of them are chronically single, but you got the answers? That's just weird to me. Um, you got access to tens of thousands of women, but you haven't found one to settle down with. So some of it is scammy to me, but some of it is really dope. I've never considered going down that lane, but if somebody does ask me for advice, I'll give it to them. Like, for example, I was at the track. This was last year around this time. Fall 2024. I was at the track and I used to do night runs because I have bad problems with sleeping. My sleeping patterns are terrible. Like, as you can see, I never sleep. Like, my brain doesn't shut off. And I've tried melatonin, I've tried a bunch of things, but the only things that work is like working out at night. That's the only way I can like sleep through the night is if I run a mile or two at night or like walk for like an hour. Then I can go to sleep. So I'm at the track. It's like a Friday night. It's like 1 a.m. So like a Saturday morning, realistically. And these kids are at the track getting drunk because the track is like in the cut. So they can like put their little Bluetooth speaker on and they can get drunk or whatever. So I was used to seeing them. And I didn't care what they were doing, and they ain't pay me no mind. But this one day, these two young boys start running with me, and I'm like, this is weird. Like, I hear the footsteps, so I'm like, I ball my fist up, like I'm gonna have to swing on somebody. But they just start running with me, like, yo, OG, like you always out here running on Friday nights, like, what's your goals and what's your plans? And I'm like, it was really weird. And so I got cool with them. So whenever I would see them on the weekends, like they would run with me, or sometimes they'd just like step into the track and dap me up real quick, and so I wouldn't have to break pace. And so one day it was like 10 of them that was running with me, like girls and boys just like jogging around the track with me. And they was like asking me advice on relationships. And I was like, bro, I can't tell you what to do except if you find somebody good, don't let them go. Because good people are hard to find. So if you find somebody that's going to love you for you, not for what you can do for them, not for how you make them feel, not because of who they are when they're with you, but they love you for you, don't let them go. Ever find a way to make them happy. Find a way to make it work, because that's rare. But that's the only advice I could ever give somebody. other than what not to do. Like, not don't do what I did is I can give that advice, but I can't. But if somebody wanted them, like I've been on panels, but it's never like telling somebody what they should do. It's just always been about my experiences. Like the crazy thing is the night after I did the Me Too panel in New York, which was talking about like I said, I moderated a panel in New York a couple weeks ago in Harlem at the Apollo. Um and it was like Mark Lamont Hill, Van Jones, a couple other people on the panel, and it was talking about like consent with young boys and consent with men in general, but how like a lot of young boys' first experiences are with older women, like with adult women. So it's technically not consensual sex. It's not even technically, it's not consensual sex. So that was a really good, powerful panel with a bunch of dope dudes having a really good conversation that we should be talking about and we haven't been talking about. But the very next day, I was in DC. I was outside of DC. I was in a DMV doing a kink panel. Shout out to After Hours, my homie from the AOL days. So I do panels. The Apollo, it's like a different part of the Apollo. It wasn't like the main Apollo. I forget what it's called. It's like a different part upstairs, like a little black box theater. I forget what it's called, but it's a part of the Apollo. So yeah, long story long, because as you can tell, I'm very long-winded. Not relationship guru, but if somebody asks my advice about something or asks my experiences, I always tell them I don't gatekeep nothing. And again, I have spoken on panels about such things, but I don't think I could. It would also have to be who else is on the stage with me, because I don't want to be next to scammers. I don't want to be next to people who kind of scam me, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. Because I don't want to throw no shade at people getting their bag. But again, if you're getting what you set out to get, cool. But again, if you've been a relationship guru since 2012, 2013, and you ain't never been in a relationship, that's weird to me. I don't know, that's kind of scammy. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm looking too deeply into this, but forgive me. But I was on I am a part of a podcast. I just did a podcast called Old Heads Online. And that was really fun. I taped that yesterday in Philly at Rec. And it was with three other brothers around the same age. And it was really cool. We had a good time. And yesterday it was just real simple. We just reviewed Set It Off. And so I had to watch it again. I hadn't watched Set It Off in like 20 years. And rewatching Set It Off as old head as opposed to when I was a young boy was two different experiences. Like I got so much different stuff out of it this time. So when they finish editing that, I'll definitely have it up on the page. I'll definitely have that podcast up on the page. But if you have a podcast, if you know somebody who has a podcast and they're looking for a guest, they're looking for a, whether it could be. I did another joint. I did the 40/40 podcast. That's up on my Instagram. The clips of it up on my Instagram. That's a sports podcast of all things. Like shout out to the 40/40 podcast for that, because that was kind of dope. We talked about like the top 5 Philly sports icons. That was a lot of fun. Do you know Don't Call Me White Girl? Her platform is huge. I don't know Mona. Me and Mona have a lot of mutual friends though, which is crazy. Like she from my hood. So Nell from the series, Nell is like friends with her, like at least Instagram friends with her, and so is Herc, his brother. So we have a lot of mutual friends, but I don't think I know Mona. Maybe I know her from back in the day, but I don't remember her. But I don't think I know Mona. But either way, I don't have access to Mona. So yeah. Another thing, like Mona adjacent, one of the reasons that I started doing Trashterpiece, and he don't know this, and maybe one day I get to tell him, but Wallow from the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast, when Wallow first came home, I was hosting an event and he was like a speaker at the event. And I told him about the idea of Trashterpiece, and a friend of mine like laughed at the idea. But Wallow was like, no, dude, he's like, that's dope, do it, like do it now. Like, what are you waiting for? Like, why are you holding out on? At the time, I had like 20,000 followers, like strictly from poetry. He's like, nah, dude, that's a great idea. Do it. Tell them stories. Like, this is dope. Like, don't wait on this. Don't sit on it. Like, do it. So one day I want to be able to tell Wallow, like, yo, thank you for like the shove of doing it, because that put the battery in my back to like feel comfortable, like doing the series when I was just typing it out. So I don't know. I can't say that I know Wallow. I just met him, but he was a really good dude to like really like help me push that forward. Shout out to Beagle, BGOL in the building. I gave y'all a little Easter egg last week. Beagle. But yeah, if y'all have no more questions, I'm gonna wrap this joint up. And again, we can do this more often, and we can do themes. So maybe I'll come up with some things like maybe some like pop culture things, like or things that are in like maybe some funny things that have been happening outside of Trashterpiece. We can do that too. I keep saying I'm back outside. I don't really go live. I used to go live every week with my friend Nicole. But I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go live more often now, especially since y'all say y'all like it. I'm glad you caught it too, Asia. Thank y'all for all the questions. I'm gonna have this joint up on the page, so for people who missed it, they can catch it. Definitely go live more. I will. I appreciate y'all. Like seriously, this has been a hell of a journey. Again, moving from IG to like to YouTube mainly has been super fun. This is way more of a community. Now y'all know what I look like. I hope I look like the character. I hope I look like the narrator. I hope at least I'm at least close enough to the narrator that it looks realistic. But I'm definitely gonna do this more often, and we'll come up with cool things. Look out for the lives that'll be like I'm doing themed lives where it's like some of y'all caught them. It's like marathons of like themed episodes, like the best of PP or the best of Tiff, the best of Ryan kind of themes, the best of Bruce. Some be doing those too, making sure that they cycle through. And I'll be in the chat with y'all while y'all watching them as well, answering questions if y'all have any. But yo, thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. And we're gonna do this again. I gotta look around my laptop to find the end stream button. All right, here we go.